Proud of you guys. I didn't even have to do the waterfall thing, and y'all just got quiet, so good
High school
job.
kids are looking at you like,
There we
what are you
go.
talking about, a waterfall?
Yeah, I like the waterfall. I think it's
I
fun.
like the waterfall.
Okay, we've got just another minute here, so give us a second. We've got to wait until 6 to start, so. Okay. Good evening. Today is Monday, August 25th, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. This meeting of the Prosper ISD Board of Trustees is hereby called to order according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Representing the quorum this evening, we have Mr. Webb, Mrs. Dixon, Mr. Cavender, Mr. Linker, Mr. Van Wolf, and myself, Bill Beavers. The Board of Trustees extends a heartfelt gratitude to our entire Prosper ISD community. In Prosper ISD, we unite students, families, teachers, staff, and the larger community in the relentless pursuit of excellence. Together we champion, we support every student's journey to excellence. Together we cultivate. We create meaningful connections across our growing community. Together we empower, we develop our people to lead and inspire growth. Together we prosper. We unite in shared purpose while honoring individuality. Your collective commitment to Prosper ISD is what makes our district thrive. Thank you for choosing and supporting our schools. This evening, Mr. Linker has the invocation for us.
Yeah. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time together. Thank you for our community and our school district and all of our students and staff. Lord, as we begin this new year, we ask your hand of safety over our students, over our teachers and the rest of our staff, that you keep them safe, that you provide good health. And for all those going through health struggles, we ask for healing. For those grieving, we ask for comfort. And tonight we ask for wisdom and guidance to make the best decisions for our school district. Thank you for our blessings. We love you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And Ms. Dixon, would you please read the board vision?
Yes. The board's vision is to ensure a safe and supportive educational environment that promotes academic excellence and opportunities, honors traditions, fosters student learning, facilitates effective recruitment and retention of talented educators, and grows all people at all levels.
Thank you very much. As always, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act as outlined in Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. All of our voting must be conducted in public. However, we can privately discuss certain items, including but not limited to matters regarding individual employees, individual students, land acquisitions and real estate, school safety and security, and issues that require legal advice. However, after that private discussion, any final vote must be in complete view of the public. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, the agenda for tonight's meeting was posted for public to view at least 72 hours before the meeting. Have a couple dates coming up. We already have some school holidays coming up this next week. So guys, enjoy your time off next Monday and Tuesday. And then school board meeting a little bit less than a month from now. And that brings us to celebrations this evening.
All right, best part of the meeting right now. So I would like to ask Coach Furr if she will come up here. Okay, so spelling, we had our 5A, 6A spelling and vocabulary stay at Walnut Grove High School. So I have Lindsay Moffett with Coach Amy Holbridge. Welcome on up. Extremely successful with spelling, correct? Because I have seen your name and your face multiple times before. She is a returning master speller, and certainly to be able to compete at this level, earning the state's bronze medal, which is huge, right? And so I want to say congratulations. I'm going to have Ms. Kane also come up. She runs our UIL academics, and so a lot of these things would not happen without her leadership and guidance. So if you'll come join us. We're going to take a photo. You good? Okay. Sounds good. See you guys. Congratulations. Way to go, Lindsay. Okay, so next up we have Prosper High School. We have our UIL 6A spelling and vocabulary state champion runner-up team. If you're part of that team, come on up. So how is it to compete as a team in spelling? More challenging than being on your own? Oh, it's easier. Lindsay's something to do. Right. And they're all back. And they're all back. Okay, great.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so tell us, all Prosper High School, right, what grades? Just so we know, what grade are you in? Okay. Very good. Okay, good. Excellent. Well, we're going to take a quick photo. Make sure your parents get some photo ops too, so make sure you smile. Okay, first we're going to look at Ms. Trotter. Sorry, I did that wrong. Now we're going to look at your parents. Excellent. Congratulations. Next up, we have UIL 6A State Theater and Film Team from Prosper High School. So please come and join me. I see that Mr. Logan is here. Everybody else doing something like this? Okay, so pretty exciting. Tell us a little bit about the experience. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, we went to state for film. That was up in Austin, UT. And then for theater, this is the first time in 8 years that we've made it past my district.
Yes.
It was pretty cool. So it's fun to be part of both experiences. And we got enough points to.
Which is awesome, yeah. So I saw y'all's one act, and that was quite something special, because it was all like black and white, grayed out. It was pretty cool. So, in real living color, but it wasn't color. All right, we're gonna take a quick photo. Congratulations. Ms. Kane has to take a seat now, because we're moving on to athletics. So that means Coach Smith has to come forward, and Coach Holder, and Coach Clary, Coach Wilson, Coach Couch, and then if Mr. Mayberry is here, love to have him join us too. All right, well, we have several of our state finalists. This third place for the PHS baseball team. We all made a jaunt out to Cleveland, and sadly it ended there, but it was a great ride all the way. You are truly talented young men. I want you to come up so everybody can see you, and I love that you wore your medals.
That away, Noah.
Still sport there. The bleach.
So if you know anything about baseball, you start off in the dead of winter, the season, and then you go to sometimes the hottest part of the year. And so what was so special about this team? I've got some facts and details about them that I certainly want to highlight, but really watching them and the camaraderie that they had on the field, it was really something special, but the way that the coaches supported them and really rallied behind them. But also hats off to our coaches, because you can sometimes see coaches, when you get this deep into the playoffs, they may have some let's say over the top emotions, but our coaches just stay like ducks on the water all the way through because they know that directly that will impact the performance of these young men and what they do. So thank you all for what you do, and certainly want to highlight some of the incredible highlights that y'all have. So UIL 6A state baseball tournament, third place. Team highlights, 10 players continuing their baseball career. So we have 10 of them that are not with us tonight because they've gone on to go play at the next level. 8 all-district selections, including 4 superlatives, 4 all-state selections, 5 academic all-state selections, 16 academic all-state selections, and a special graduation that you see on the screen there, because they could not be at their graduation. And you want to talk about the epitome and definition of team, this is it. They were like, nope, we'll graduate on the baseball field and go across home plate. And that was a pretty special moment because what they did when those seniors came across, they hugged each other, all 12 of them. And that was neat to see. And you sometimes never get that chance as a superintendent or as a head coach or as a principal, and to be able to see that special moment, pretty incredible. So, and to see everybody in the stands cheering them on for a baseball graduation. So hopefully we'll get to do that again this year. All right, we'll do it again. Let's do it. So, wait just a second, because I need to get Ms. Trujillo up here as a principal, because if she's not supporting athletics at the campus, things just don't happen.
Hello there. How are you doing? Everybody's good. Congratulations.
One more time. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Excellent. Congratulations, guys. Oh, wait, paparazzi. Point 5. Congrats.
That's it. Congratulations.
Okay, we will now have a quick intermission. You are more than welcome to stay. We're about to have a budget meeting, very exciting things, big numbers coming up. But if you would like to go home, this would be a great time to also. We are now back in, and the real exciting part. So I now open the public hearing on the 2025-2026 proposed budget and tax rate. Mrs. Croy, do you have a presentation for us this evening?
No, I was hoping for some walk-up music or something.
Seriously.
Good evening. How are y'all?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. I first off want to say that this has come with a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of heartburn. My staff in the business office they have gone above and beyond to get these numbers. So I especially want to thank Ashley Lopez and Jessica Lindley, who's not here with us tonight. But those two have really stepped up, and I would be on the floor right now instead of standing here behind the podium for you. So thank you. I think I need the clicker, don't I?
You do.
I was just ready to go. Okay, so tonight we are trying to align our budget with our new strategic priorities. So I'm taking a different kind of glance than what you've seen previously. So we're going to talk about how we cultivate, prosper, champion, and empower with our budget and our funding and the impact it can have on our staff. So. First off is a little reminder of how school funding works. Prosper ISD is that cup there in the middle, and we are filled with our local property taxes first. And if the local property taxes does not fill up that cup, then the state chips in and pours into the rest until we get a full cup full of money. Our problem lately is that our local property taxes overflows the cup, and so therefore we are having to send money back to Austin. Just last week, I sent $1.4 million back to them because of recapture, or Robin Hood, as it has been known previously. So we'll get there someday, right? All right, strategic priority number 1, cultivate to create meaningful connections across our growing district and our community. So the community within Prosper ISD is important, the staff members, the students, but also we need to talk about the people who live in the community and support our school district. Legislation this year, if the voters approve it on November 4th, will see a decrease or an increase in their homestead exemption from $100,000 to $140,000. Our seniors and disabled may also see an additional increase from $10,000 to $60,000, which would be $200,000 for them at that point. Again, this goes up in November. I don't see it not passing, but you never know. Another thing that we are doing to support the community is due to our MCR rates, we are going to see a decline in our property taxes for those PISD residents. This year, we were at $1.2552. This next year, if you adopt it, we will be at $1.2141. So they are seeing a decrease. And then our INS fund is going to stay steady at the 50 cents, which is our debt service. This is a fun slide. The tax rate adoption language that you are reading makes no sense, basically, unless you have a PhD in tax rate. So I wanted to read to you what this is about. It's just the easiest way, because if I were to teach you, I would not be able to. You would get an F in my class. So, no new revenue is a district's tax rate that keeps the money per student the same as the previous year. An increase in students does not include an increase in students does include an increase in state funding. However, the dollar per student remains the same, thus the name no new revenue. Adopting at the no new revenue rate only takes into consideration the local side and does not acknowledge state aid or recapture. Therefore, that's why we see the lower tax rate adoption of $1.2141. The word increase must be included in the action item. So the percent increase is the difference between the no new revenue and the overall adopted rate, is basically why they have to put that increase language in the action item. So. All right, finally, we come to prosper and to unite in a shared purpose. So the legislation did give teachers with 3 or more years of experience a pay increase this year, $2,500 for 3 to 4, $5,000 for 5 or more. However, they did not honor anyone else. That was the only pay increase that they recognized and gave. However, because we believe in our people and they are important to us, the district did step in, you stepped in actually, and gave teachers with 1 to 2 years of experience that same raise. And then also the 4% raise to all other staff, which I know meant quite a bit to them, especially during these times. Because of that, our starting teacher salary is now $62,250, which gives us a competitive advantage to other districts. So, a few other legislative changes is in school funding is the new ABC allotment, which is allotment of basic cost. This is new. It's $106 per student. It's there to help with the ancillaries from the pay increase for those 3 years and higher. But also they felt like this was enough to assist us in utilities, property insurance, all the things that it is not enough to help us in. So valiant effort, but we're still struggling, still not enough. And then also school safety did see a bump of $20 per ADA, and then each campus receives $33,450. However, we know that that is still not enough, and Prosper ISD does foot the rest of that, which is a significant cost. And these are just a few other updates that they did for us this summer. I will say there was a shift this summer. Instead of just giving us a flat increase in basic allotment, they kind of dictated where that money went and how that money is spent. And I wish they could come in and see exactly where we need that money. But I guess some is better than none. So maybe in another year or two. All right, finally, we champion. So we're going to support every student's journey, and we do that with our budget, making sure that all students have the tools that they need to succeed. So we do anticipate a growth of 1,700 students in our ADA. Fast growth allotment does continue. We are going to see a little uptick this next year of $3.7 million. Again, this fast growth allotment is not guaranteed. When our growth slows down, this money is going to start to dwindle down to nothing at some point. I don't ever want to depend on this money. Right now we're having to for obvious reasons because we're growing, and that's the intention of it. But it's just something to keep in the back of our minds as we move forward. Here's our projected revenue for this year. You'll see there's quite a bit more in state revenue next year than the current year. That is that flow through for the teachers' raise, the 2,500 and the 5,000. So that's coming to us from state revenue. We have a little decline in our local miscellaneous revenue. We've seen a decrease in facility rentals. That's some of that, interest rates. And then now, because of HB2, our staff can have free pre-K, and that was also some of our revenue as we had a little charge there for staff. All right, and then some new expenses. With more students comes more things and more items that they need. So this is just a list. The big ones right now, though, are utilities, contracted services, and then property insurance. So I'm still working with that. And then again, that recapture payment that I talked about earlier, we sent 1.4 back this year. It looks like we're going to send about 1.6 back next year. So it's just money that we wish we could keep, but we could get to return. This is our general fund. You can see 80% of it's going straight to personnel, which is where we want it to go because we believe in our staff, we support our staff. And then that other 20% is going to go to non-payroll. A lot of that, I mean, you think about more students, you have to buy more tests, more books, more pencils, like just the supplies alone there is quite an increase. All right, so this is what we're looking at right now. This year we anticipate putting back about 12 million. I wish it was a little bit more, but hey, 12 million is better than the $15.5 million deficit you adopted this time last year. So we did swing a little bit. And I know that's been the trend in previous years. We've adopted a deficit budget, and then we have come out on the other side. So let's see if that trend continues. 29 is quite the number to get to, but you never know. We'll continue to watch those trends and see what we can do. I will say we have already been able to allocate find another $2.5 million that we may be able to save on top. So that could bring that to 29.4 down at least another $2.5 to $3 million. And we're going to continue to look at cost-saving measures throughout the year to see what we can do. One more thing, that is if every dollar is spent this next year, that's what that total looks like. And this is looking at our expenditures by major object, just so you can get a visual, makes a little more sense. Again, personnel is at the core of everything we do. The teachers is what we need to succeed with our students. Child nutrition, we continue to partner with Aramark. Thankfully, this is a self-sustaining program. Our meals have slowed as far as the number of meals being sold. However, we're still able to continue to keep up and be self-sufficient with that. And then debt service. Certified values did come in. They were not as high as we were hoping that they would be. So between that and the new homestead exemption, our tax collection from the INS side is not where you would think it would be. So the homeowners win, but we're going to have to struggle a little bit in that area. So we do have a pretty healthy fund balance for INS, and this is not our general fund balance. This is totally separate. This is all dedicated only for this purpose. So we're going to put back a little over $4 million this year, which will cover the $2.2 million deficit that we'll have here next year. Again, this is totally separate than the general fund that helps with students and salaries and stuff. This is straight debt. All right, and this is just one more look at the proposed revenue that you hopefully will adopt. And then we have our proposed expenditures that you will adopt. And then there's our one last look at the number. And that is all I have, unless you have questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank
Croy.
you.
Any questions while she's still up there? Okay, hearing none. Thank you very much.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question? Mrs. Croy?
Yes, sir.
I want to first thank you for the presentation and everything your team did.
Okay.
Obviously, going back a couple months ago, the projected deficit was a lot higher. It's come down significantly.
Mhm.
Last year was another year we adopted a deficit. We wanted to go out there and support our staff, not knowing what the legislation was going to do, and we got close to balancing that, if not fully balanced. Also, thank you for the answers to my questions earlier today. Just
Okay.
one question that I had that I think other people might have is, When we're looking at the increase of 50.5 million revenue roughly, and then an increase in 64.5 million in expenses, some may think, well, that should show up as a $14 million deficit.
Right.
I know there's a lot more that goes into it. We're kind of playing catch up from the year before. We don't know what our attendance is going to be, but just want to see if you could just briefly touch on that and
Absolutely.
address where that additional gap might be.
So what we're looking at tonight is 24-25 actual budget to 25-26 actual budget. So as I said earlier, that actual budget from 24-25 was a deficit budget of 15 million. So what we were looking at tonight is like the worst case from last year to the worst case from this year. And that's why we don't have the savings capture that we know we have already built into the numbers. Because if we didn't do original to original, it wouldn't be apples to apples in regards to what we're looking at and what we're adopting. I don't know if that.
Most people, thank you for that, but most people think that, oh, we have this number, you do the math, and then it comes out clean. We're based on average daily attendance, so a kid actually being in the seat, being at school, that's how we get our funding. So it's not even based on our enrollment, it's our average daily attendance, and we've got to hit it at a 95% rate in order to be able to acquire that. And it even goes deeper because then we're every 6 weeks versus 9 weeks that we are. And so us really monitoring, and want to thank the PEMS department, give them a shout out right now, and our registrars on our campuses who do a phenomenal job, because without their meticulous work, we could be losing money or leaving money on the table, but they do an outstanding job. And so we're trending in the right direction to be able to hit that 95% just for you as the board. It dips typically around January because we start hitting flu season. We have a lot of kids out. And we certainly don't want them at school if they're sick, right? And so that's when we have to really monitor pretty heavily, is during that 6 weeks when we hit that January, February time. So it is a hard thing to think about because most businesses work with, here's the number, this is what we do. Well, in our world, it's constantly moving. And then legislative sessions also can move us one way or the other on the dial, so.
The only other question I have, thank you for that, by the way. And Dr. Ferguson, you had a great answer to this earlier. When we look item by item on departments, some departments have a higher increase than the average overall budget increase. Can you just address some of those reasons?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you add 4 schools, right, you're putting 4 more principals out there, you're putting more assistant principals out there, you're adding counselors, you're adding registrars, attendance clerks, secretaries. And so when you start looking at all of those positions, that's where a lot of that add comes. So just to give you a little bit of perspective, we hired 901 employees, and that was with attrition or with ads. And so we're looking at about $69 million just in and of itself this year. But if I take you back in time and I go, okay, well, in 2023, we opened Walnut Grove. Well, that was probably another $60 to $69 million ad. Well, then in 2020, we opened Rock Hill. There's another high school. So when you're adding 188 to 200 employees just on average, you're looking at a big chunk of money, right, that's going out. And then when you look at what Ms. Croy had explained, we're not getting those funds back in from the state. We're really leaning on our local taxes, and then we have kind of the problem of now there's recapture. So you collected all this money, and that's great, but now we're going to need a check. And that's why it's so very important for us legislatively that we're vocal in this, because most people look at Prosper and go, oh, yeah, they've got everything that they need, and we do. But there's a lot of strategic things that happen behind the scenes to make everything happen the way that it does. And the 7 people that sit on this board are key in that work on how do we get there. And I want to give a shout out to our team, just the work that they've been doing and have been doing, just a collaborative effort, working with Ms. Croy and her team to figure out how do we get in better standing every step that we come to you every month. So just know rest assured we are working on this as hard as we possibly can, but certainly appreciate all of the work that Ms. Lopez, Ms. Croy, Ms. Lindley, but it goes well beyond that with the number of leaders that we have involved trying to give us the best look forward.
Yeah, and even though this is the number you're adopting, we're still going to continue to drive that number down as best we can. We're never going to be comfortable with this number, is what I should
Well,
say.
we've always adopted a deficit budget, at least for the last 6 or 7 years I've been here, and we've always cleared that deficit budget
Yes. Let's hope we can do it again.
Hopefully we can do it again.
We're crossing all the things.
Our student growth, so everybody keep doing a good job.
Come to school.
Kids come, and everybody come to school.
One other thing is, at our safety meeting last month, Chief Vessels had said our police department is better staffed than we've ever been. So obviously that was an increase in that line item, but I think
Absolutely.
our parents and community will be very happy to know,
Yes.
you know, we've got great officers and
Continue
more
to
staff in that
prioritize.
area than we've been in the last couple of years, so.
And these are the things we have to look at. Where's the investment? What's the return, right? Do we have, like, are we putting all the resources in the right direction and doing our due diligence to be as financially conservative as we possibly can for the sake of our community?
Okay,
Thank you.
am I good?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Troy.
No two claps and a Ric Flair?
Well
Wish I had a
played.
Ric Flair gift, right?
I love how she connected it all to our champion, cultivate, empower,
Yes.
prosper. That was a really good move. Well done, team.
Okay, thank you. Any other board discussion on this? I know that we had questions, some dialogue here back and forth on stuff. Any other board discussion at this point?
Yeah, I have just a few things just to share, and between Mr. Cavender, Mr. Webb, and I, we get a privilege to serve on the Finance Committee and have a pretty good look at this. So those that haven't been a part of the budget process, you got to understand that in any business you're forecasting the budget, you're doing it while you're still finishing the year you're currently in. So you're doing it, there's a lot of best guess estimates. And I think that I want the community that maybe is either listening online or here in the room to understand, we don't take any of this lightly. This is months and months and months of preparation. And so our expectation for each other up here is that we want to be good stewards to the tax dollars and to the community. We also want to keep Prosper ISD, right? Any business or entity you're running, you could very easily gut it and get to some sort of number, but it comes at a cost, right? And there's been things that we want to stand and support, and it's first and foremost our staff, to take care of our staff, who takes care of our students, who takes care of our community. So there's a balance there. We talked about the importance of security. We have always prioritized security. So there's some things we could give on to make the numbers look better, but it's not the right thing for the sustainability of the district and our people and our classrooms. And so I just want those out there listening or hearing, oh my gosh, this number is big. It is. And it started bigger, and we worked it down quite a bit over the last several months. And also understand that a budget continues to live on beyond tonight's discussion, beyond tonight's potential implementation or not. It's an ongoing dialogue for the next 12 months on the daily, on the weekly. We continue to meet and partner with admin and with Ms. Croy's team to get to the right number. So it's a tough subject. It's a big lift. It's a big number. Nobody's naive to that, but I don't want anybody to think that we take it lightly as board members or as the finance subcommittee or the business office. It's a real thing. And it's a real thing that continues to evolve, and it's a real thing that we need to continue to balance to be good stewards, but also keep Prosper ISD the special place it is. So it's a continued balancing act that we'll partner on. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear on the process that goes behind. It's not just hearing from Ms. Croy for 15 minutes and saying, okay, let's go. I mean, it has been a laborious summer going to get to this. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that.
Well said.
Okay. We now, people could have signed up previously to speak public comment on this. We didn't have anybody sign up. So we will now close the public hearing, and then we will enter back into the regular board meeting. So I know it sounds a little funny how to say that. Also tonight, this is where we would go into public comment on agenda items, and we did not have anybody sign up to speak on that either. So that will take us right into item 8, informational reports.
Okay, so our student enrollment actually as of today was 33,582 students. That's, I know you had a little bit different number in your packet, but we continue to grow and see an increase in our student numbers, which is great because that's what we need to see those kiddos coming in. I will say though, shout out to Ms. Hunt and her team, along with all of our principals, really making sure that we're staffed appropriately. And I think that's another thing that goes with the budget. We have to staff for the future, not knowing exactly who's going to come. And so the team does a really good job. And so those student numbers continuing to come in is exactly what we want to see. And we are a destination district where people want to be a part of what we're doing. And then we have a back to school report, which I'm really excited to be able to share this with you. A great start, compliments to the team. our parents, our students, everybody involved in this community, because we know the minute that traffic kind of amps up in our school district, everybody gets a little tense. So I want to kind of hit some of the highlights. I have a video for you that kind of takes us through a journey of some of the great moments that have already. So I will say, I was at Thompson Elementary this morning speaking with all of the first graders and asked them to rate their school, which might be a little daring on my part. And so I gave them the rating scale, and so we got a few 4s, but the majority were 5s, so we've got a 5-star rating at Thompson. So they like their school. They would like it to be a little bit bigger.
5
though
is the
that was
max score, right?
Yeah.
We just want to be clear. It's not out of
5
10.
was the max score. And then some people started holding up their hands with 10, and I was like, that wasn't, it was 5. So we're 5. I
Okay.
need one hand if that's what you're doing. So, which was awesome and certainly cool to hear from our kids. And so you can see our first day numbers. Okay. 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 We're gonna go back. We're gonna go forward now. Okay, so named best in the state by HEB, and if you haven't stopped by our local HEB here in Prosper, I encourage you to do it. Excellent partner and certainly support our community schools. This is just a glance at the first day numbers all the way back to 2017. And so when you look at just the immense growth that we've had, and then you hear things like this is where we are with the budget, this explains some of that story, because every time those numbers go up, that means we need more staff members in order to be able to meet that student need. Whether it's police officers, instructional coaches, teachers in the classroom, paraprofessionals, and the list goes on. But just seeing that and really being able to applaud the efforts of our incredible staff, because when you think about the growth, that is an added piece of the work that we do in Prosper ISD that is like no other school district. And again, just another glance, but this also takes you into the future. So you can see 33,466, which I told you today, we are at 33,582. So above that number, which again is a great trending number in that direction. But then you can see in 2029 and 2030, 43,400 students. And then that projected out to 2034, 2035 at 53,000 students. Our build out is at 55,000, so you can kind of see where we are in that whole progress of everything. I was telling the first graders today at Thompson that since I started here in 2007, we've added about 30,000 students. And that's kind of crazy when you stop and think about just the magnitude of what we've been able to do over the year. So student enrollment, you can see that add of 2,123 students, and that's across all of our campuses. And then being able to see, and again, this number was dated because now we're at the 582 mark, 33,582, but you can see the breakdown by each of our campuses and the student enrollment that we're seeing. And then new campuses opening. Certainly was out at Thompson today. Smotherman is one of those schools, was there on the very first day of school, and people were just lined up waiting, trying to get in the building. They were so excited to be able to come in and see. And that has an enrollment of 734 students, and certainly Thompson Elementary over in Legacy Gardens are 19th with an enrollment of 600 students who rate their school on average in first grade as a 5. So, and then we have the Mosley Mustangs, been over there, and of course, if you really want to feel just kind of the magnitude of what's happening, you get in the school during a passing period just to kind of see the kids and see sixth graders typically trying to run down the hall, and you're saying, don't run. You're in middle school, don't do that. But so they'll work that out as the time goes on. But you can see our enrollment, it continues to climb because as we know in the west side of our district, that's where we're feeling the most growth. And so 1,363 students enrolled at Mosley, and then very successful opening with our Richland Raiders High School was able to go over to their Meet the Raiders. A lot of excitement over there in the Purple Haze, celebrating our students, but being able to just go over and visit with students too in the building. Again, passing period is where it's at, and I was there Friday morning, and it was like a dance party trying to get to class, and the kids were doing great, moving through the building, really enjoying their school. And as I was asking them, how do you like the school? And usually high school kids, you kind of get the like, oh, it's good. They're like, this is great. I love it here. And so that's what we want to hear. And that's credit to Dr. Croy and his team over there for making it a place to be. Certainly our academies, we have cosmetology, and the kids are already in there doing work. We've seen some of the mannequin heads, and the kids are cutting hair and practicing already. Getting ready. So if y'all want a haircut, let me know. We'll get you booked.
Tommy, you and me, we're gonna go get a
Down if
haircut.
you are.
Yeah.
And then we have cybersecurity. That's a specialty that's specific to Richland, along with cosmetology, as well as electrical engineering, special to Richland High School as a choice academy for our students across the district to be able to select if they're wanting to be a part of those programs. And then Prosper Connects, just so you kind of know, this is a big kickoff for us. Certainly our teachers are learning all throughout the year and through the summer, but we really try to bring everybody back together, to bring our school community together and being able to host this event. Prosper Connects, July 31st. You can see what our attendance was and then kind of the average session rating. So they're very similar to the Thompson first graders, but on a 10-point scale. And you can see, I'm going to show you this short video just for a few clips of experience.
I'm excited about all of the professional development that is bringing to our teachers and our staff.
I am proud to be a part of Prosper ISD because they have supported my growth from being a paraprofessional to a teacher to now being a specialist. Seeing all the different opportunities that Prosper provides and these learning opportunities that they give us has been so awesome today.
It's really great because it wasn't just teachers that were presenting, our coaches were also presenting about how to bring a team together and the things that you do. And so to be able to see athletics, fine arts presenting all areas, special education, to really make sure that we had just a full opportunity for anyone that wanted to attend and learn. And then our bus drivers, just so you know where our ridership is, I was actually visiting with Ms. Mapengo this morning and talking about all things bus, and so you can see we have over 10,000 students that are riders, and then our special education, and you can see how many number of stops we have for general education students. So there are a lot of buses moving across Prosper, especially in the morning, and in the afternoon you will see them, and then you see our bus stops for our special education routes. Very successful start with transportation, which is really the key to everything. And then just collectively 7,895 miles, which just astonishes me that in a day's time, that's what we travel. So that also goes along with the budget because that costs money. So there's that. And then our strategic priorities that Ms. Croy did such a great job of incorporating into her budget presentation of Together Champion, Together We Cultivate, Together We Empower, and Together We Prosper. That's all I have. Well, not all I have, because we also have our bond and our project. So I'll show you the short video of all things Prosper ISD as far as construction that are taking place right now. So we'll keep trying to forge ahead as we go through.
It's nice to see things fall off of that.
Yes, because it was a little
Graduates
bit
on.
longer video.
That's right.
About a
Exactly.
month ago.
And not to mention all the new ones opened on time,
They
completed.
did open on time, which is huge, because not every school district can say that, because they end up on the news, so.
That's right. Big thank you to Pogue on that, and thank you to Mr. Tremblay sitting back there helping out with that.
And
Our
Kristen.
friends, and Kristen as well, our friends at Huckabee. Thank y'all for all that y'all do as well in assisting with that, so. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ferguson. That takes us to number 9, consent agenda. Everybody has seen that, I think. Mr. Van Wolf, you've got a word on one of them?
Yes, sir, I need to abstain from item 9H due to professional reasons.
Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and get a motion, and then we can have any discussion that we need to. I will entertain a motion.
All right, I make a motion. I move that the board approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor? That is all 6 of us. None opposed. 9 passes. That takes us to 10A, consideration and possible action regarding the 2025-2026 Prosper ISD annual budget. On this one, thank you, Mrs. Croy, again for the report. We've had discussion on this. I say we go ahead and have a motion on this, and then any discussion that we need to have, we can at that point in time.
I'll make the motion. I move that the board approve the 2025-2026 Prosper ISD annual budget as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Again, thank you all for that, both members of our Finance Committee, along with Mr. Webb, and all the work that y'all have done on that. I think that we have talked about this at length, and we certainly will continue to talk about this, look at the budget. This is just a point in time to do something, and we continue to work on this throughout the year. Any further discussion on it?
Only thing I would add, I failed to mention earlier in terms, we do have a fund balance, which essentially is a rainy day fund. So we did see the worst case scenario number. Just to remind everyone, that is worst potential case. As Mr. Cavender referred, our typical historical performance has been we make up quite a bit of that due to multiple reasons, which we'll continue to work towards. But there is a fund balance or a rainy day to cover that and years forward. So the district will continue to roll.
Okay. All right. That being said, we'll go ahead and hold the vote. All in favor? That is all 6 of us. None opposed. So 10A passes. That takes us to 10B, consideration and possible action regarding the maintenance and operation tax rate and interest and sinking tax rate for the 2025-2026 school year. I will actually make the motion on this. We got some specific language for us here that I want to make sure I'm correct on. I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 1.214100, which is effectively a 2.66% increase in the tax rate. So that is the motion on it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Okay, any discussion on that?
I just want to make a comment. I know we have to read it that way,
Correct.
but the 24-25 tax rate we adopted was 1.2552. This is 1.2141. So even I know people are going to hear it a certain way.
Still
Exactly.
going down.
Yeah.
That's right,
Going down.
going down, but the state requires us to make
Right.
certain things just like on certain ballots, we have to read them certain ways, even though it doesn't necessarily make
Very
sense that way.
confusing, as
It
Ms.
is.
Croy said.
That's right.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I want to add to that, it is confusing. I want to thank Ms. Croy again and her team for the presentation that put it in the simplest terms possible for us to understand and for those at home to understand more about what we're adopting.
That's right.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you for the discussion on that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? That is all 6 of us, none opposed. 10B passes. Takes us to 10C, consideration and possible action regarding an agreement for the purchase of attendance credit, option 3 agreement, and to delegate contractual authority to to the superintendent. Dr. Ferguson, can you walk us through this? real
Yeah,
quick?
so the Texas Education Agency, whenever this point in time comes with the budget, you have to select and then be able to say how you're going to pay that recapture money back. And so there's a couple different options. One of those is consolidating school districts, selling property, student growth. And so option 3 is actually student growth, which is what we have utilized for several years now because of our immense growth. And I would love if we never had to sell property or consolidate a school district, but those are options that certainly some of our school districts in the state are having to face. So, and I hate that for them. So we will be thankful that we will be able to lean on student growth.
That's right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Ferguson. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion. I move that the board approve an agreement for the purchase of attendance credit option 3 agreement and to delegate contractual authority to the superintendent as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mr. Linker. Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Any discussion on this one? It's rather straightforward now with the explanation. Okay, go ahead and hold a vote. All in favor? That is all 6 of us, none opposed, so 10C passes. Taking us to 10D, consideration and possible action regarding the district improvement plan.
Yes, so just for everyone, this board had 507 pages of greatness to read before this meeting. So applaud each of you for enduring 507 pages.
Thank you.
So it is chock full of a lot of information, but what I love is that it's such a compliment to the work that we're doing in Prosper because it is all aligned with our strategic plan. And so the district improvement plan, it's all about our people. And as I've told our leaders, like we're not completely shifting and now there's all these new things that we need you to do. It's how do we settle in? How do we really get to know our people and then put that action into works through each of our students that we're serving? And that means in their academic setting, that means in their emotional setting. What is it that we need to do to best take care of them? And so that's what our district improvement plan is really settled in on. How do we take kids from where they are and make sure that every kid has as successful as a journey as they possibly can, given what their needs are and abilities?
They're affectionately called plan on a page,
Plan on a page, but it's
Pages.
but
pages.
plan on pages. So
Pages,
it's good.
pages.
There's multiple,
Some
yes.
campuses took a little bit of liberty with the page definition, which I appreciate. I'd rather
Just take the S
they be
off.
thorough than a little bit lean. So nicely done. It's great.
No, and I think the community also needs to know, we've talked about this, we do campus walks where the district or the specific campus will present us with the one pager that is now several pages. But we get to walk around and we get to see that in action, which is an awesome thing for us. And we are keeping an eye on that for the greater community. So Dr. Ferguson, thank you for setting that up for us. And thank you, board, for making the time to walk through and see the kiddos in action. Great. Okay, is there a motion on
Sure,
this?
I'll make one. Move the board approve the district improvement plan as presented by the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. He just slightly beat you there, Mr. Cavender. Okay, any further discussion on this? All right, all in favor? That is all 6 of us, none opposed. 10D passes. Takes us to 10E, consideration and possible action regarding campus improvement plans.
Yes, so you saw campuses, which there's 31, so just get ready for more pages to be added next year because we have more campuses coming online. But certainly trying to make sure that we have that through line with consistency, clarity on the work that we're doing. A key piece of the work that we do with these campus and department plan on a page as well as the district plan is that we all have our own true north, right? And that is Prosper ISD and how we get our work done. And so it helps with a lot of the things that can happen because of the immense growth. You could get really distracted as a leader. And so this helps keep us on target with what we need to be doing and what we need to focus on and where that intentionality needs to be. And certainly appreciate you all always coming along to be able to see that in action and really complement the work of our great leaders in this district.
Perfect. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move that the board approve the campus improvement plans.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Okay, any further discussion on this?
I'll just add too that I really do enjoy, to your point, getting to go to the campuses and speak with the campus administrators. on what they've put on their pages, and how that aligns to the district plan, and overall, and the superintendent's vision, that it all aligns together, that we're all working together towards the same goals. It's very impressive.
Makes a big difference when
Yeah, absolutely.
when you're all aligned and headed in the same direction. Good.
I agree. Okay, we'll go ahead and hold a vote. All in favor? That is all 6 of us, none opposed, so 10E passes. That will take us to 10F, consideration and possible action regarding selection of school library advisory council members. We've got to list each name on this, so we're going to do it. I'll read the names that I brought forward. I'm going to ask each board member to read the names of the people that they are bringing forward on that, because I also don't want to mess up anybody's last name on that. I move that the board approve the selection of school library advisory council members as follows. Bill Beavers nominates Danielle Ford and Jim Bloom.
Dina Dixon nominates Jorge Sandoval and Julie Clark.
Tommy Van Wolf nominates Craig Murchison and Carrie Willis.
Kelly Cavender nominates Lauren Clement and Katie Ewan.
Jordan Dial nominates Lindsay Arterburn and Janaea Carrington.
Garrett Linker nominates Kristen Meyer and Amanda Gottfried.
David Webb nominates Amelia Lingerfelt and Lindsay Wortham.
Thank you, Mr. Webb, for just right in there. I appreciate that.
Nice.
Is there a second on this?
Sure, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Okay, any discussion on this?
Dr. Ferguson, can you just give a quick overview of
Yeah.
why we chose to do this rather than going through the petition and
Yeah,
and
so
how that
this came through the 89th legislative session, so our legislators put this in place. So last month came to you all with policy changes, and you approved those. And so then what it led us to is now we need to look at a library advisory council. So they will stand in and be able to weigh in. It's going to be, hopefully we can streamline it as much as we possibly can with Ms. Cockrell and Mr. Crownover really kind of leading the work along with Dr. Trammell in the library world. But it's going to get somewhat intense because you have to be able to say yes to all the titles. And just to kind of give you an idea of the magnitude, so when we open a new campus, which we will have 2 middle schools that open next year, so you're probably upwards of 15,000 titles that will actually have to go through for this advisory board to say they give their blessing, and then it will ultimately come to you as the board to say we approve or we don't. I think, legislatively, sometimes decisions are made because we're not thinking about like fast growth districts and things that they might be faced with. So it's going to look a little bit different in our world, but I feel very confident that work that we did probably 2 to 3 years ago with library work will probably make a path of a little more ease for this committee moving forward, because there are a lot of things that we already had in place as a district before the legislative session took action on this one. So I'm looking forward to it. I know that Mr. Crownover and Ms. Cockrell are looking forward to kind of spearheading that. And we certainly appreciate all of these community members that you've brought forward and parents who are willing to serve and give back their time, because it's an unpaid position.
This is a 3-year term that they are being elected to this evening. And is there any other criteria that,
Not really.
it's pretty open?
Yeah, it's pretty open. We've
Okay.
got voting and non-voting members on there. So they have it's truly, the bill is written so that parents really have a voice into what books are being selected for our schools.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? All right, hearing none, all in favor? That is all 6, none opposed. So that is 10F passes. All right, we had nobody sign up this evening to speak on non-agenda related items, so Dr. Ferguson.
Okay, so superintendent's report, certainly together we cultivate anytime that we can bring our community in and certainly connect our traditions and our past to our current, but also our future. It's always a special time. So being able to tour the Mosley family, and actually this is Pete Mosley's son that's in the picture with the young lady, I guess to your left or right out there. And being able to just really kind of hear those stories, because Pete Mosley is no longer with us, so being able to learn more about him through his family members and who he was as a person was a really heartwarming experience. And Dr. Roan, want to give her a huge shout out, did a great job of really embracing and embodying, I think, what Pete Mosley would have been honored and very excited to see once upon a time. And so to be able to see that actually come to fruition is a great thing. And then we had the Smotherman family, so another namesake. Something that's pretty neat about the Smotherman family, and specifically Virgie Witt Smotherman, is she made a commitment. And when I think about who our educators are in Prosper and their level of dedication to our students, she made a commitment that she would not leave the classroom until her last grandchild had taught them to read. She was a first grade teacher, and most of the people that grew up in this area will tell you that Virgie Witt Smotherman taught them how to read. And so that's a pretty cool legacy and a really neat story. And I think probably one of the most powerful things is that she did a lot of this work teaching from a wheelchair. And think about that in the 60s and the 70s and how a community would embrace that disability and difference. And so I think it's just a testament to who we are as Prosper ISD to really honor that legacy. And then we have Richland, of course. Dr. Croy did an outstanding job. I think that was the best night of his life. Like, he had so much fun walking us through. We had a blast. The town of Prosper came alongside us, as well as the Prosper Education Foundation, which was neat because we were able to highlight things like the Prosper Education Foundation giving back to the cosmetology program to scholarship 10 of our students in that program. And so for them to actually be able to see that space and see what it was going to look like and the opportunities our kids were going to have. So certainly outstanding job by all, and it's breathtaking, truly, our facilities are. And then we had the Thompson family namesake. If you know anything about Jana Thompson, she has served in multiple roles within Prosper ISD, her first one being a principal, and then being able to move on to serving on the school board upon her retirement, and then on to the Prosper Education Foundation, and now to be one of our namesakes in Prosper. It was fun. Some of the students were calculating her age in the first grade group today because there's a big bio wall in the library, and they were like, I know how old she is. And I was like, okay, let's stop right there. Certainly our kids are loving learning about their namesake, and I think Ms. Thompson has already visited this school, which is always special for our kids to be able to connect with the person that their name is on the building, and I know she will be ever present in giving back to this school community, so it's exciting to be able to see that for her. And then convocation, big shout out to our Prosper Education Foundation, who continues to show up in the best way and biggest way possible to give back to our incredible staff, as we have mentioned, but also to our community partners who really give in to our education foundation so that we can give a world-class experience. This is a huge piece of our recruitment, but it's also a huge piece of our retention, and we like to call it the biggest pep rally in the state of Texas, and that's what happens, and I appreciate you all coming and celebrating our staff too, and really being able to honor HEB as they come to be a part of our community, but also what they've done for us as being named as best district in the state by HEB back in May. And so being able to do a wave, I didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off, but we did, and it was outstanding to see. But really just the excitement, the enthusiasm in the space is just kind of a forecasting of what is to come for each of our kids that we're serving, which is absolutely remarkable what they do.
How about the MCs at convocation, though?
I mean, the MCs were pretty powerful, pretty, it was moving.
Took it to the
It's
next
moving,
level.
yeah.
Great.
Yes. And then our first week of school, very smooth start, very impressed. And it's certainly, there's not one person who gets credit for this. It is a collective effort of 4,300 plus employees making this moment as grand as they possibly can to really make this experience, because our hope is always, and our preparation is always, that not one kid has a bad first day. We try our absolute best. We know that sometimes we may not make that happen, but we try our best, and our campuses really take that baton and really try to encourage. I do want to say thank you too to our central office staff, our athletics group. Our departments were out on campuses opening car doors and greeting kids. I know Ms. Stemick was like what do I do out here? And then she found that it was pretty cool out there, right, Ms. Stemick? Yeah, kids are pretty amazing. And so really trying to connect the whole piece together. And it's not just an office job, you're also connected to our kids. I really appreciate those leaders going out to connect. And then Meet the Teams was super fun to be able to see. I was able to get to 2 of them. And then Mr. McLaughlin and Mr. Crownover filled in at the other 2 schools so that we had representation, but just a lot of energy and excitement and really being able to see our students shine, because that's what these nights are all about, is connecting them, engaging them, but also bringing our community in to see our great facilities, but most importantly, our students and the things that they will be a part of this year. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. We will now recess into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 071, 072, 074, 076, and 0821. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. The time is 9:49 p.m. We are back from executive session. Let's see here, it takes us to 14, consideration possible action regarding hiring contract personnel. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move that the board approve the hiring of contract personnel as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Coach Dial.
Thank you, Coach Dial. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? That is, in fact, all 7 of us, none opposed, 14 passes. 14B was moved off, so we are fine on that. That brings us to the time now being 9:50 p.m., and we are done. Thank you so much for coming.